I almost fell off my chair right now. That would have been a great start. Well, hello. She falls off her chair. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. Awesome. Voice kick in, shall we? I do vocal warm-ups. I honestly do. I was actually with a friend of mine, a very dear friend, who is a professional musician who tours with big old stadiums where they're playing for 50,000 people. And I was about to do one of these lessons and we were together and I was like doing my vocal warm-ups. And he said, you do more vocal warm-ups for this than the entire band does before we go on in front of 50,000 people. I was like, wow, that's interesting. Happy Friday. Hey there. Hi, Doug. Morning, sunshine. Should I share our morning? No, I won't go too much into it. I had one of those, you know, those mornings when you wake up and you run in place? That was me. That was me this morning. A little bit of a spaz moment. And then luckily I have a partner who literally said, I got your back. And it was like, oh. Well, we're starting out, Anna. You're right there with me. Reload if you're having it. Hey, Malia, how are you? It's good to have you. So today we're going to talk about productivity. Woohoo! Let's get stuff done. And then, like, just right before I clicked live, like, the house settled and just did a big old boom and just fell off my chair. So that's my morning. Here we go. Let's have an afternoon worth. Pardon me. Pay no attention to the crash, bang, beep. Spike Jones, where's Craig? Okay. So I'm super excited to be here. Hi, Jan. I saw your question. And yes, it all relates to television as well. So they do have readers. There's some good television contests out there too, actually, that I've read for that they am very sincerely looking for new writers. So absolutely, it applies. My background is I've done some television, but far more film than television. So we're looking already to get guests to come on and do more things with television type peoples. We have some pretty cool people in mind. So I hope that makes sense. But definitely, as you said, you can apply it to anything. And then, yes, reload and restart. And then, yeah, so we answered a question already. My work is done. Good night. No, it's not, because we got lots to cover today. So I'm going to share my screen. How about that? I'm starting to start the PowerPoint. You guys can't see it. That's not helpful. Okay, are we ready? Are you ready? I'm ready. You ready? Are we ready? Fantastic, yay. Let's show that comment. That's a good comment. Can I do that? Let's show that sucker. See, there's Jan. Fantastic, awesome. So today, it might help if I actually click on the PowerPoint. Few quick start instructions just to try to make things run smoothly, wonderfully, beautifully. That's like a song I almost started singing from Cinderella. Wonderfully, okay. Refresh your screen, as Doug says. Greetings, Cher. I know how to say your name. Yay. Always ready. Becky was born ready, man. Vroom, vroom. Refresh your screen. If your webinar freezes, check your volume. If you can't hear me right now, check your volume. That's my joke for the day. Comment in the chat if you're having trouble. Oh, I can see it here too. And then, you know, if all else fails and things go awry, which that's never happened. Don't know why I'd even say that. Just come on into the Facebook group and we will show you what to do next once we figure it out. Cool. So let's get started. One of my favorite. Begin. I love this picture. To buffer or not to buffer. So what will make this run more smoothly? Anytime you're doing any kind of Facebook Live, webinar, anything like that, you got to close out those windows both in your brain and on the computer. You need to focus, close out emails, close out social media. I mean, literally, if you've got a bunch of tabs open, you want to close those down. Yay, somebody had a, hey, gang crazy busy week and finally able to join live. So you need to click on StreamYard.com if you want your comment to show, if I show it. Oh, I'm over here, that's why, hang on. Otherwise, it looks like this. So I'm going to switch that now. So Facebook user, thanks for coming. I'm glad you're here, even though you have a busy week. It's been a little bit crazy around here too. One of our screen readers, Paula, we love her. She posted a picture of spinning plates. That's what it's been like this week. So close out those emails, silence your social media, really like, kind of let's focus in. We're only going to be here for about an hour, depending on how many questions we have at the end. And I'll try not to get too squirrely off onto stories and just let's get those questions answered. So Doug and I are here. We'll take down your questions. You can jot down any questions that you have. I recommend you just kind of save them for the end. And then we will stay and answer your questions. If for some reason you have, people are starting to be able to say this with me, on the way home, and on the way homer, and you go later and you're like, oh, just do what Jen did. Post your question later and we'll get back to you for sure in the Facebook group. So if you're seeing this somewhere other than inside of the finished Facebook group, we are streaming right now to both YouTube and to our Facebook page because we're so fancy. And so if you, I don't know who that was, if you see it somewhere else, we have a lot of handouts and stuff we're going to be giving away, and you can get those handouts in the Facebook group because we want to treat our Facebook people that, took the extra step. We want to give them special stuff. So our first thing, which we will give to everyone, is the masterclass worksheet. Cool. So we're going to post that link as soon as I find my mouse. I have this problem when I do webinars too, but usually on the webinars, people can't see me searching around like you guys can. Yeah. I thought this morning, I wonder actually what I forgot. And it would be the masterclass worksheet, but luckily Doug has it. So Doug will post the handout to the masterclass worksheet. I have the others, I just don't have that one. So you can download that and then use that to jot down notes and follow along. And then that way, if you have questions, you can let us know what they are. Where's my mouse? It's here somewhere. Oh, I just saw it. There it is. So we're going to start out by recapping session 1. Let's see if I can see your comments there. Yes, it's on YouTube. Yay, it's working. It's very exciting, right, Joy? Joy's on our team. Everybody say hi to Joy. So recap of session 1. We did that on Monday, and we basically explained who we are. We are readers, Hollywood gatekeepers. Doug and I have been working as readers and story analysts for a very, very long time, and we decided together that we wanted, that we wanted to train people how to become readers, because when I first started, all the readers I know sort of figured it out. There's no real trainings. In some places, like there'll be a training on how to create a film, and there'll be one little section on the story analyst job. Does not at all cover what a story analyst does, by the way. So that formed us into training readers, and then look at our screen reader community. So we started Hollywood Gatekeepers and Hollywood Screen Readers, and so we do free trainings every single week, and then we also have a paid course for people who know they want to research and do this career. I laugh a little because a lot of people start out with wanting to be, reading screenplays for production companies, and it's branching into all kinds of other stuff, which is so cool. So this idea of teaching people how to turn into readers has just spawned a whole thing. So that's the fancy word for it. So what has happened is that we created the screen reader community. Within that, we have had a lot of writers that were learning to be readers, and so we created the writers' room so that writers could put their scripts in there, and the readers learning how to do coverage, which is kind of like a book report. That's what a reader is. They read a screenplay, they do kind of like a book report known as coverage. They give that coverage to the person that asked them to read the screenplay, and then that person can decide what they want to do next, if they want to be involved in the project, whatever it might be. So as we're teaching people how to do this, people are saying, hey, can I get my script covered while I'm in here? So we created the writers' room. So Doug and I don't cover those scripts, but the readers, people that are learning how to become readers, cover those scripts. And so it's great because they get practice covering, and then the writers get coverages of their scripts. Super, super cool. So, the branches are where it gets really fun. So true. So yeah, you can watch other there's lots of live videos. Switch on over to YouTube if you're having trouble. And yeah. Let me know if you guys, other people can hear it. Some people are unable to see the video. Tried Facebook app, it says link is broken. So you might head on over to YouTube. Is anyone watching this on Facebook and can see it okay? Let me know if you can. So we know that it's not a massive issue. So I'm not sure who that is that says it can't. Is that the same person? Because they both say Facebook user, so it's hard for me to know. So Doug, Peggy, where are you watching this? So I just want to make sure you can hop on over to our YouTube channel. You can hop on over to our Facebook page, and you can see it both there. So it's both. Yay, Jen can see it fine. Okay, cool. Because sometimes Facebook is, which is one of the reasons why we're going to start broadcasting onto YouTube as well, just to cover our bases as we're demonstrating in this very moment. So it's recording here too. So if for some reason he is watching in the finished Facebook group, yay, that's my partner. So, and we are recording and we will be putting this up. So some of you might be watching this on a replay. It's very possible. So we created the writer's room, right? And people like Peggy, who's in here today, have been covering scripts in there. She covered a script written by one of the other readers, her fellow reader, named Mickey L, called Berry Hill. She pointed out something, what we call the hidden gem, which is something a reader should be looking for, which is something in a script that's really unusual and unique, even if the screenplay has some problems, or if it doesn't, even better. But she found a hidden gem, and it was written by one of our writers. Doug and I, meanwhile, had been commissioned to write a screenplay. Instead, we spoke to the producers, and they, yay, Jill's watching on Facebook too, cool. And they decided to option that screenplay. So we are now rewriting that one instead of writing our own, because we wanted to, it's a great script, and why not? And so we can provide more opportunities. So it's a win-win-win. So that's that story. So that in turn has branched into us wanting to help more writers, because that was really fun and is still fun and going on and, turning into cool things. And which, Doug, we need to talk. I have a cool idea. Anyway, so we talked about this aspect of it on Monday, and then we also talked about how do you get started. Basically, we talked about knowing yourselves and the speed of implementation, and how when Doug and I first decided to do this, we jumped on it. It has now turned into people saying, hey, can you help me with my screenplay, which is why we've started this group. And so it's really, really cool. Okay, cool. So someone can help that Facebook user, because I can't see who it is. So it's been really, really, really cool. And I'm sorry I'm not dismissing you if it's not working, because we have people in the chat can help you out. I'm going to keep going because we do have people that are seeing it. So someone help them, the troubleshooting. Everything is changing so much. We talked about this on Monday, and we're going to talk about this a little bit more. So the understanding of that there's so many opportunities out there because things are changing so much, that it's really, really a very cool time. We also talked about story discovery. How can you discover a story if you're trying to write a screenplay, where they might come from? I love Robert saying, I hope this experience gives me what I need to finish my screenplay. That's what we hope too. That's why we're here. So we talked about looking in your own history. We talked about looking for opportunities, listening, reading, all of that. We talked about how do you put it all together by knowing yourself, really, really knowing yourself, hiring your higher self to really know what it is that you want. We're going to talk about that in great detail today, so I'm not going to recap. This is all from session 1. And we had a ton of handouts that we gave away with that, which is why you get a link to those handouts today. So if you want to download those, you can download the handouts. You can go back. It's living in our Facebook group. You can come on into the Facebook group and you can watch the replay there. So hope that works. Looks like people are, oh, it's just Sandy. Sorry, Sandy. Hi, Sandy. It's classic. So it's really funny when it's like Facebook user and that's like, oh, it's you. Oh, I lost my mouse again. There we go. So there's the link. Doug will give you the link to the, downloads from our first training session. And now, it is time for the secret world. It's time for the secret world. I'm just going to play it. Are you ready? Are you ready for the secret word? Are you listening? So you don't need to write the secret word in the chat. We can all hear it. The thing about the secret word, well, let me play it first. Okay, I'll just play this one. Are you ready?
The secret word is Gandalf.
What? Did you get that one? It's a little bit obscure. Are you ready?
The secret word is Gandalf.
I don't know why that makes me laugh so much, but it really does. I absolutely love it. Okay, did you get the secret word? Because you'll need it next week. We got more stuff planned. No, what? Did you get it? You didn't get it. Did you get it? Someone posted. Just I was like, don't post in the chat. But yeah, in case somebody doesn't know what that is, you know what that is, right? Get off the white or the gray, right? There we go. Thank you, Mushi, for that. So that's one of our secret words for today. And every training we did secret words, and then we're going to put them together into something fabulous later on. Keep watching. Then we did on Wednesday, well, on Tuesday, we did this really cool thing where we did a really deep dive into subtext. And we'll talk about that in a moment too. Is that Tuesday? Yeah, it's been a long week. And then Wednesday, we jumped in or dove in to nuts and bolts. And that's when we really talked about, succinct things about formatting. And so we, again, gave away handouts, lots of things. Thank you, Joy, for posting that. So all of these are some of the rules about the 3-act structure. What does Act 1 do? Act 2, Act 3, what is an inciting incident? So definitely go back and watch these. Also on Sunday, we are going to have a watch party where we put all 3 trainings together. And I'm going to be there and we'll be watching it, and I'll start and stop it if I feel like there's things I want to clarify. It'll be fun. And that way we can totally get some popcorn and binge watch. I can binge watch myself. Ooh. And then we also covered the do's and don'ts. All of this, keep in mind, is coming from the perspective of a reader, someone who is the first person to see the screenplay, and sadly often the last person to see the screenplay, because the buck kind of stops there. They're looking to see if they're going to move that screenplay on. So we have these do's and don'ts of things that because a reader has to make these choices about, what am I going to read today? When I have a lot of scripts to choose from, which is the one that I'm going to read first? And if you pick up a screenplay and you thumb through it or you scroll through it and you see a ton of mistakes like these, you might not choose that one because you want, especially if the producer is chomping at the bit to find a project, you're going to, because that just says that it's a young writer, which doesn't necessarily mean that that's a bad thing. And by young, I mean new, like someone that's never been read before. If they don't know the rules yet to follow, it's just like anything, it's like when you try out for a sports team, it's the ones that have been playing a little bit longer that, you're going to notice right at first. Not to mention that someone who's got raw talent isn't going to come and just knock it out of the park. That's my baseball analogy for today. I love baseball. I do. Seriously, sounded sarcastic, but I do. So we gave you a bunch of resources. We gave you some software, this whole guide on software options, because that's a big question we get all the time. So this really breaks it down. We talked about all the different resources that are out there for you. There's podcasts and there's books and there's Facebook groups, and go to festivals and go to screenings and all of that. There are so many resources. And today we're going to talk about how not to languish in all of those resources. So we also did this subtext exercise where we uncovered your BS, and that it would be, I don't know what you're thinking, but it's your belief system, of course. And so we dove into that to help. Also, everything that we do when we're doing trainings about reading, we sort of sublet, we sort of combine it to applying it to your life. We feel that if you apply subtext and character work to your own everyday character, because we all are our own characters, if we apply the things that we're learning as writers, we will be better people and we will be better writers. And we think that's really, really important. We also talked about the importance of a live read and decided that we are going to demonstrate what we're talking about with that. It's a little hard to explain if you've never seen one. So on Wednesday, December 11th at 5 o'clock, we are going to do a live read of it's actually a play, because we want it to be short. It's a 5-minute play. So just so you can see it. So then we have a link to all of the recap handouts of training 2. So you can download that, right? Baseball is the coolest. I think maybe my mom listened to baseball when I was a kid, so that sound was nice. And then I just love sitting in the baseball park and hearing people cheer. There's something about it, so cool. And my son was very much an all-star and scouted and everything. And then he took a left turn to music. Now I get to listen to him play music. Lovely being a parent. And he wrote something and his college professor wants to publish it. Okay, let's stop being the proud mama for a moment. Yes, professional and very talented actors are going to be doing this live read. We're very excited. It's going to be super cool. Oh, love it. Who's your favorite baseball player, Kristen? So it's another secret word. I'm very excited. Let me find my mouse. So save this for later. I got it. I'm on it. I got it. Here we go. Oh, no, I don't want that one. Sorry, Doug. This one. Did we do this one? Here we go.
The secret word is sidekick.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that? Let's try it again. Wait. No, we're not going to try it again. Yes, we are. Hang on. Sorry. Wait, sorry. I turned the sound off by accident. Okay, let's try this again. Here we go. Oh, there we go.
The secret word is sidekick.
The secret word is giggle monster. Okay, there you have your secret word. You got it? Oh, Dominican baseball players are the best. Nolan Ryan, classic. Awesome. Okay. Let's move on, shall we? Finished. We're not finished. We're just getting started. So today we are going to cover a few more things. Today we're going to start with, we're going to talk about productivity, but then we thought we'd do a little show me the money because we wanted to make sure that we covered this as you decide what kind of screenplay that you would like to write. We wanted you to know kind of the things, yay, people are getting it. Kind of the things to consider with when you're writing a screenplay. If you sometimes just write this, the most important thing is that you write the story you want to write. That's definitely the most important thing. And if someone resonates with it, they will raise the money to do it, hands down. If you, however, know that you want to direct it yourself, produce it yourself, that kind of thing, there are things to consider. These are the major things that will, crank up a budget. So movie stars, they're expensive. A period piece and the 90s and maybe even the 2000s. I don't know, what are we going to call 2000, like the turn of the century? We don't know yet. We haven't gotten far enough away from it. 2010s, I don't know. But those are soon period pieces. But really, a period piece like Game of Thrones, obviously super expensive. Children, you might not think this, and I see a lot of screenplays that include children. It's a huge consideration. Children are expensive because they can only work for a certain number of hours, which absolutely it should be. And so they have to take a break. And so sometimes if you don't get the shot, that you're trying to get, and then the child has to leave, then you either have to reset up and do something else. That can be a real problem. So really consider children. Animals, same thing. Animals, children, hand in hand. Action sequences, obviously, car crashes for obvious reasons. And keep in mind that you can use stock footage. Doug and I, in the screenplay we're writing right now, we have a car crash, planning to use stock footage, and also wrote it as in a glimpse of metal, a flash of light, that kind of thing. So you can work around it with sound, stock footage. Stock footage there's places where you can go get little clips of things. There's certain shots of LA, of the Capitol records, of the, kind of looking over LA. Those are stock footage a lot of the times. The one that's like a 101 kind of looking over LA, I see that one a lot. Yes, so children are cast as twins. That's true. So you can save on budget. So you can just keep on shooting. So if you have twins, put them to work. Street scenes, surprisingly, street scenes can become very expensive because you're supposed to have a bunch of permits and things like that to use street scenes. And if you are a guerrilla style filmmaker and you sort of pride yourself that you're going to sneak the shot, you got to be really careful with that kind of thing because God forbid someone gets hurt on that, then you're in a world of trouble. Weather. So if you write a nice snowy scene, cha-ching! Day versus night. Simple, right? Simple concept. Day versus night. Much more expensive to try to make nighttime look like day or vice versa. Like try to, if you're going to do a small budget film, set it during the day, use as much natural light as possible, which is Sean is doing. I didn't see Sean here. Pardon me, dropping things. Having a lot of setups, so multiple setups. So keep in mind, so let me set the scene here. I just have too much stuff on my desk. That's the problem. So let me set the scene. So even if you're shooting in a house and you've got everybody's facing this way, you've got a ton of lights. I mean, movie making is hurry up and wait, right? So you got to shoot the scene. You got to sit there while they get all the lights right. And you make sure that everything's in the place that it needs to be. And then you shoot, 3 or 4 lines. And then you need to turn everything around to shoot it from a different angle, unless you have multiple camera shoots, which if we're already talking low budget, it's very unlikely that you have that. So even if you have it in one location, you need to be extremely organized in how you set up your shots. And so if you're in a house and you're constantly moving them all over the house, you're sort of defeating the purpose of having one location. Just saying. Special effects kind of speaks for itself. Music is another thing that can sneak up on you. If you want certain songs, if you're doing a musical about the band Supertramp, it's going to be very expensive. Boy, is that going to be expensive. I happen to know them, so yeah, they're going to charge you. So we kind of narrowed this down to, the higher budget films are the big old action films, movie stars, blockbuster, what they call tentpole movies. So studios will put, so let's say a studio has like 10 pictures. Well, that's a lot, but they have, 5 pictures they want to do in a year. They're going to try and do one that's the Jurassic Park of movies, that it's going to be the tentpole, and it's going to make so much money that it's going to hold up the tent so they can do a bunch of other projects. So that's the action blockbuster. And then makes the users laughing. Yeah, like car crash, street scenes, multiple setups. Right? It's like you don't really think about it. And it's funny because I've read pieces of Joy's screenplay, and you would think that's kind of, actually, it's a little bit more in this category here, because it's kind of a simple story. So it's something to consider, though. They can walk into the room covered in snow and give the, illusion of just entering from snow. There's ways to work around it. And then you've got your independent films. Horror films are typically, a lot of people do that first. Paranormal Activities, famously, Blair Witch Project, famously done on just like, no money, few $1,000s. You don't have movie stars, or you have a movie star that's a friend or something that's willing to work for free or for a lot less money. So it kind of breaks down, in terms of, and what's interesting about this is that big thing on the top is actually a much smaller percentage of movies, but hundreds of millions, and we're getting close to billions of dollars can be spent on that movie. And so it kind of equals out to all of the money that's spent on all these low budget films. It'd be interesting to do that study exactly to see like all, how that pans out in terms of as much money that's spent on all these low budget, or do you put all, it's like diversifying your film portfolio. Or do you put all your eggs in one basket? That's what the tentpole is. That's awesome. Diversifying your film portfolio, you investors out there. So that's kind of budgeting stuff. We wanted to kind of give you that idea. So as you're writing your screenplay, you are aware of when you are, costing a lot of money. So, and I have so many producers. Actually, we interviewed Jay Holden, and he talked about this. Holden, and he talked about how he's a low budget film producer, and he got the first, someone submitted, and it said low budget movie, and they submitted, and the first line was, army of elephants, tramples over the horizon. And he was like, next. It's like, and you don't think about the things that would add up, but a producer's like, why are you giving me this script? I can't make this movie, and Doug and I have had that said to us, like, I can't make this movie. This is not the budget that I have. So, and we weren't thinking that there was a high budget movie either at the time. This was, we weren't thinking. Now we know. So, yeah, it's something to consider, right? When you do your movies. And there's some contests, and I love this about contests, is that they're like, doesn't matter, but with budget's no concern. We have all the money in the world, because they're looking for writers, not necessarily, unless it's a contest for low budget things. And so be aware of that. So as we move forward, so now we've covered the nuts and bolts. We've covered subtext. We've covered, yesterday we did a big long thing on rewriting, super fun. Like, we covered things to get that screenplay done. So why isn't it done? What's going on? So let's dive in. And this is one of my favorite topics is, well, life is what I just love life and people. People are so beautifully messy and wonderful and messed up, and I just love them for it. So these are some of my favorite topics to talk about, because it so helps our life, and it's so important as a writer. So my mouse ever. Okay, so hang on, let me. Pays to do your homework when submitting your script. What Doug said. Yeah. So many people submit scripts, horror films to, trying to think of, I was about to say romantic horror films to Nora Ephron. And I'm like, and then it was like, romantic comedies to Wes Craven. Okay. So here's some ways to plan to be productive. I talk a lot about journaling, and you're a writer, please journal. I'm begging you, just start journaling. It's going to make such a world of difference in your world. You can do it in a little book. Think you can do it like that, or you can do it, I have my phone. You can do it. There's so many ways to do it. And I really do think the actual thing of writing, it will help solidify. Just put that anywhere. And then, but you can work your screenplays out and you can work your life out, and it will make you a better writer, and things will come to you. Things will just download that you didn't know were there. It's a miracle. It really is. Set up a workspace. I actually realized that I didn't have a very good workspace in my home. So I set it up so that you have a place. This is where you go to work. If you want to go to a coffee shop or something, set it up to where this is your workspace. I think sometimes, especially now because we're so portable, and that could take a lot of time of like just figuring out where you're going to write, what you're going to do, and setting up your thing. Have it set up, ready to go. I didn't see Steven here today, but he's one of our reader writers, and he's got the greatest workspace, and he has his vision board of his screenplay up, and he's got drawings, and he's got all this stuff around him, and he sits down and he's been cranking out pages. So it really, really makes a difference. Figuring out a writing schedule. Really figure out that schedule. And I mean, you can even go as far as do not disturb on your door if you have children, or Tom Fontana, amazing writer. He gets up at 5 every morning and writes. Like, it's like that kind of commitment to it. And, silence your social media, put your phone away, like actually commit some time. You can even put a thing on your email saying, I'm not available right now. Like, really commit to it. I was interviewing Bobby Moresco one time, and he's like he is an Oscar-winning producer. And I was interviewing him, and he got interrupted like 25 times within this little time that we were together. I was like, how do you get your writing done? And he's like, tell me about it. So, but learn what works for you. Sometimes I love to write in busy coffee houses. There's something about that energy and people I actually love. I also like to go to malls and sit in food courts, and kind of, especially malls that have they have the chairs where you can look down on people. I love that. And then just sitting and writing. I also love to sit by the water, by the lake, or whatever. And then there's sometimes when I go, okay, all the driving and whatever, if you're in LA, all the driving that's going to take to get to my perfect writing spot, I need to just write. So you need to learn what works for you. And there's times, especially I'm traveling right now and I don't have Scruffles, but if I have Scruffles with me, it's like, okay, I can't take Scruffles to the coffee shop. So I'd rather just sit on the couch so she can lay in my lap while I write. And then, that's inspiring. So having an accountability partner like Scruffles, who goes, and she actually does this, where she comes up to me like, are we writing now? Like, 'cause she knows that if I sit in a certain spot in the house, she can climb up next to me, cuddle in, and that means I'm going to sit there and write. And so she'll come and get me, and she'll just go up and sit there and be like, it's time. She's my accountability partner. So training your dog to be your accountability partner. I also actually have an accountability partner. Doug and I have each other, where we're like, I need that thing. I need those pages. Some people use music. I like to listen to soundtracks. Last night we had we have our screen readers, and every single week I showed you the pictures. We get on a Zoom session and we do live coaching, and we talk about all kinds of things. And we did a really cool one last night, and we were talking about, we got off on Say Anything. So last night I had to hear it. So many good lines. So I had that playing in the background. I didn't even watch it. I just had it, I pulled it up on Amazon and had it playing in the background, cracking up, I know that movie so well, but knowing what was happening while I was working. It was awesome. So, but sometimes, can be actually a little bit distracting. Although I know that movie so well, it's not like I need to see it, or it's not going to pull my focus in the same way. And the kind of work I was doing, even though I did have a few guffaws, maybe those go together. But, as we talk about eliminating distractions, there's times, depends on what you're doing, and know yourself, know what works for you. A lot of people, I like to listen to soundtracks sometimes, especially if I'm writing a big emotional scene or whatever. Listening to soundtracks can kind of help you get into the mood. If, however, you find yourself rapping and not writing, maybe not. So procrastination. Can you hang a sign with a picture and explain to them that it means mama needs to work? I love that. Yes, you can do that. Accountability Scruffles. Yes, absolutely. She's like, Mom, it's time. We're writing now. So what is procrastination? What does it mean exactly? If you find that you are cleaning your bathtub, like, today's the day. Well, not necessarily. I mean, sometimes we need to clean our bathroom. Or I'm not even going to go down too far this path, but there are ways that you can organize your day where you are really looking at your high value things that you're doing. So if getting your screenplay is the high value thing you can do in your life, you might get someone else to clean your bathtub if you're able to do that. So, but if you find out, I actually have a friend who the night she would have her parents would come visit her, and like the night before that they were coming, she would kind of do these, she did it every time too. She would like pull out her silverware drawer and dump it out onto her kitchen counter. And then I'd come over and it would be, 10 o'clock at night, the night before her parents were coming. And there's like stuff everywhere, closets. She's pulled everything out, but not done it. And that was an anxiety thing. So this is a form of writer's block, that kind of thing when you need to write, instead you're cleaning your silverware drawer, or this is the time that you really want to get that grout tile like really sparkling. I've been there like, and then gone like, I think maybe I need to put the sponge down, get the computer out and make it happen. So I think that's all a form. Brooke Castile calls it buffering, which I absolutely love. And being aware of when you're buffering. We are not taught as children how to deal with anxiety, how to deal with pain. We're not taught very well. We're taught to walk it off, suck it up, or even, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. Like, we have these extremes of dealing with pain. Pain is part of life. And we're also told, you're going to be happy. I just want you to be happy. Be happy. What do you want in life? Just to be happy. Well, you know what? Sometimes we're not happy. Life is happy. Life is cruddy. Like, life is messy. Life is beautiful. Life is tragic. Life is everything and all of the above. And we're writers and we are tapping into all of that. So for us to be like, I just want to be happy. Why can't I be happy? Broadcast news. Why can't I be happy? So really kind of understanding that we buffer, like we do things like sometimes it's intentional, and actually, sometimes it can be good. We play a video game to check out. Sometimes, and we said this in the rewriting, when you're done with your screenplay, do those things. Like, take a moment, check out, go out in nature, go play a game, go whatever it might be. It can be something outside. It can be sitting down and playing solitaire on your computer. Like, whatever it is that kind of brings you that thing. I love, there's a computer game called Flow. I absolutely love it and I actually see a difference, and I can kind of tell my mental state by how well I'm able to do this game. So I never stop. I never stop observing. I try to, but it's like, there are ways that you can, buffer intentionally, but what we tend to do is we buffer like we're not aware. So be aware, just be aware of when you're doing something that you want to be doing, you want to be writing, but instead you're doing something sort of, whatever, eating when you're not hungry. That's another one where we're not self-aware. And so, or drinking, or there's so many of these, watching TV, aimlessly watching the same movie you've seen 100 times, whatever that might be, like saying anything. That was different. So that was inspiring me. But no, there are times when it's like, well, I'm not big on that actually, but I know people that have the TV on constantly. I don't have that. So, and then really kind of understanding the difference of pain and pleasure and fear and courage, and understanding that sometimes you're just afraid. Sometimes you're afraid to even finish that screenplay, because then what are you going to do, right? And so that all of that can be in there, and that's where journaling comes in. By journaling those fears and getting them out, you're able to better process. And that's what it's all about, is figuring out how to process all of these things so that then we can let them go as much as possible. We can have an accountability partner that says, don't worry when you're running in circles, I got you back. And then we move on, which is exactly what happened this morning when I was having a bit of a spaz out moment. And I even said, you know what? I'm shutting down. I'm laying down. And I put a meditation on and I just chilled out. And Doug said, I got your back. And I said, if you don't hear from me from this time, let me know. I mean, literally, I'm giving you a little window into it's everywhere. We all have these moments, but really being able to go, okay, I'm spinning and this is a bit ridiculous. So let's shut it down. Take a deep breath and then we'll move on. So understanding, what do you want? And if you don't know what you want, we talked about, actually, I think this was in Screeners, but if you don't know, what do you want? Why do you want to write a screenplay? What will it do for you? What will it mean for you to write a screenplay? What will it mean for you to have your movie done? Like, really know why. Like, what do you want? And it's not about, I'm not trying to get you to go, my life's purpose is this, and it doesn't have to be this big grand. It just has to be like, just so you kind of know where you're going. And if you can't quite figure that out, what do you don't want? Sometimes it's hard to come up with what we want, but it's really easy to come up with what we don't want, right? Well, I can tell you what I don't want. It's really easy. So when you think about that, if you start journaling about, I don't want this, that's going to help clarify what you actually do want. And that, in turn, is going to lead us to the next thing, which is this beautiful tool called Eisenhower's Box. And this is a productivity tool that I absolutely adore. Eisenhower, what a smart man. And this is where you take the things that you do want to do, or maybe you don't want to do, and you start separating them out. And so let me show you what it looks like here. And don't worry, you're going to get a handout. So procrastination can fall into this. And I'm not a big believer in procrastination, because I really think procrastination is the result of all the things that we just talked about. Procrastination means you don't want to do it. You just don't want to do it. Like, there's other things that you want to do first, even if it brings you anxiety. You either don't want to face that anxiety. Sometimes just that cycle can keep us stuck, where we're kind of caught in this, even though we'll know we'll feel better if we do it, there's some kind of weird thing that, your little monkey brain is like, no, I'm going to keep you safe by keeping you stuck. And so it can really hold us back. And so if you kind of download journal, this is me in your ear, journal. Later, people are probably listening to this on their headphones, and I'm in your ear, journal, please journal. Calling all writers, it's time to journal. Crack myself up. So taking your tasks and putting them into 4 categories. Well, yeah. So are they urgent? Are they things that are urgent? Like, they need to be done right now, whether they're things that you have put on yourself or somebody else. Often it's somebody else saying, I need this from you right now. And are they non-urgent? Are they, what can we do later? What can we know we can do later? What's the urgent thing? And I think, well, I'll get to this in a minute. And then, are they important? Are they things, you really do need to do? Or are they, not that important? And then, as you can see, you have the cross. So if they're urgent and important, or if they're not urgent, but they're important, or if they're unimportant, but they're urgent, which is where we mostly live, or they're not urgent and they're unimportant. That's how, so you start categorizing. So just write down everything you can think of, all the things that you said you would do 3 years ago. Like, write it all down, get it all out, because that, and we're going to talk about decision debt in a minute, but that holds you back. Having all of that energy, it just robs your energy, having all of that in one space. And then how are you supposed to write when you have all of this energy going like, oh my God, I thought I would do this. And I said, oh, but that's not important. I really don't want to do that. Right? Have you ever seen Weatherman? I'm not a fan of voiceover, but the voiceover in Weatherman is spectacular. So, but that's what our little brains are doing, right? They're like, oh, they're like all the things that we need to do, should have done, couldn't do, want to do, should have, could have, would have, all that. So if you can start categorizing, I think that most of us live in the urgent category, and often in the urgent, but really not that important category. And sometimes we put off things like our health, and we put it into the not important, not urgent thing, and we don't eat right, and we don't sleep, and we don't work out, and we don't do all the things that are good for us. And then pretty soon that shifts into like, oh yeah, pretty soon it's urgent and important, because we are tanking, because we haven't been prioritizing taking care of ourselves. So being able to categorize these, and then once you have the things that are urgent and important, those are the things that you need to do. You need to kind of figure those out, because those are urgent, important things. Get them off your plate by doing them. And then if it's not urgent, but it's important, you need to decide, like schedule it, put a date on it, like figure out, okay, when can I do this? Because it is important. I need to get it done. My taxes need to be done. Let me pick a date that I will do them. So you can schedule them out. So then you know that they're coming and you're not just circling about it. If they're urgent, but they're not really that important, do you really have to do them? Do you have to do them? Can you delegate that? Is there someone else that can maybe do that? If you have something that you told someone that you would do, but you really don't want to do it, and now you're like, oh, I'm sorry, I haven't gotten to that thing. Oh, I'll get to it, but I'll get to it. Oh, I'm sorry, another 2 years went by. But I'm sorry, I do want to do, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. Oh, shoot, I'm sorry. If you're doing that, let the person go. Stop stringing them along. You're not doing them any favors. You're not doing you any favors. Things not getting done. It's not urgent. You're not going to do it. Just try to get it off your plate and be like, you know what? That's never going to happen. I respect you too much. It's showing such a lack of respect. to the friendship if you're like stringing someone along like that, or to your boss where you're constantly behind. Like, it's like, schedule it out so that you can actually either get it done or get it off. And then delete, 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 delete. If there are things like that that are really, find a way to get them off your plate and find a way to actually get them out, because they're sucking your energy. Those things that you've said you wanted to do, if you have dreams that there's big things you want to accomplish, you can keep those on, that would be more in the decide category. You can kind of put them there for later kind of thing. But if it's something that you're just not going to get to, can you please let it go? And how frustrating is it when you're on the other end of that and someone who said, how many times have you said, oh, that she's never going to come through. He's never going to come through. That's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen. I know it's not going to happen. And then that person gets that reputation for that. And that's not good for anybody. So that's the Eisenhower's box. We have a handout and a link so that you can do this for yourself. It explains it as well as giving you the box. I just love this tool. And I kind of do it now so intuitively. I've been doing it for so long that I can intuitively go like, oh, well, that's in this box. Like, I can just like, even when something comes in, I can, there's schools of thought that you don't actually need a task list when you get really good at this. I'm sort of obsessed about a task list. Sometimes I kind of like moving things around. It just kind of helps solidify it to me. But there are times I don't look at my task list every day though. I probably look at it, I don't know. I kind of move things around. I mean, I guess, no, I don't think I do, because I put things on there and I sort of let things breathe. And I think it's from doing that categorizing. And sometimes things slip through the cracks, but they're all in there. And then every once in a while I kind of go through and make sure that I'm with it. And now we're learning, as we build Hollywood Gatekeepers and we have a team, of how to delegate within a team, which is a whole nother topic. So how can you get your mindset so that you actually do this kind of thing? One of the things that's really important is what we're doing. This is basically what we're doing right now, which is coaching, the power of coaching. Doug and I have a coach that we pay. We also have a mastermind that's meeting later today where we get together. And I have to say, this morning I was like, I've got too much work, I can't do it. And one of the people in the mastermind was like, we're all swamped right now. We are all in the middle of doing a bunch of, actually all three out of the 4 of us, 5 of us have, 4 out of the 5, because Doug and I are here together. We count as one. Have live things that we're doing online with our people, with our peeps. And so we're all super swamped right now. And she was like, I know, but let's not let it go. And I was like, you're right. Because I just had this moment of like, oh, I can't do it. She was like, yeah, you can. That was in my moment of like bumping into walls. That was me this morning. And I had one partner going, I got your back. And another one going, no, we can do this. So good, right? Makes such a huge difference in getting things done. Create that. And you guys can create this on your own. You can create your Facebook groups on your own. You can get together. Zoom is an awesome platform, free. You can get together, talk to each other where you can actually see each other. It's really, really cool. And so that, with the coaching, it can help with the primal brain thing, which is the little monkey brain that's kind of trying to keep you safe by making you do the bad thing for you every single day. Because whatever you do repeatedly, your subconscious thinks, oh, this is what we need to do so the tiger won't get us. Okay, well, let's do more of that, please, even if it's not helping you. And it's so amazing. And that's set up super early in your life, like when you're a baby. That's set up, first 7 years, that's when all of that is set up. So now as adults, we're trying to like undo some of those things. And so being able to understand, being able to sort of embrace, if you're one of those people, and I know many people like this, I have this on occasion, I don't have it all the time, but people that wake up with anxiety, there's a lot of people that just wake up anxious. I tend to ease. This morning was not that. And I think partly because I was so excited about today, and we got a lot of stuff going on, and I'm traveling this afternoon. So there's a lot going on. And so I was a little bit like, well, this morning. And so, and truth be told, I didn't get enough sleep, which is that's my biggest challenge. Doug can attest to that. It's like, he's always like, go to sleep, because I just get excited and suddenly it's 5 a.m. And so it's like really trying to get a handle on that, because that, and I think I was raised in theater where by my parents, I was in shows and, 7 years old until midnight. And then we didn't live close to where we did the shows. And so then I would sleep in the car. I can sleep anywhere. Like literally I could I can fall asleep right now. Like my family makes fun of me because I can sit down and just be like calm in seconds. And it's, I think those 7 years, one, being raised on the carnival, and two, then having a theater family to where we're up all night, late into the night. We would go after and have, I think about this as a parent, we would go after the show and have a burger and fries at whatever, the local diner, and then go home, get home 2 a.m, get up at 5 and go to school. That's, I mean, I was in a show, rehearsing a show forever, my whole life. So that became, that's why I'm so geared. And so now I have to, I can sleep. It's not that I can't, it's that I've trained myself. And so I'm really working on trying to untrain that, right? So that's my primal brain that thinks, oh, you did this as a child. That means in order for you to operate, you need to operate on 4 hours of sleep. And my partner's like, can you please take a nap? I'm begging you. Because then what happens? You can't focus. You need focus. These are the things to develop mindset. Focus grows where, focus grows energy. It's basically what I'm trying to say. So the more that you can focus on something, the more the energy will come around it. And whenever I come into here, as you can see, I don't all over the place, even when I'm in here. Luckily, I'm pretty able to get back to where I was most of the time. Every once in a while, I get too far off, but most, depending on how badly someone's making me laugh. But in general, I can come back around. And I really do, right before I start, do a big, like, okay, I'm just gathering everything I possibly can so it can come to me and go to you. And then you're going to put it on the page. And then it's going to go out to the world. And they're going to see your movie. And then that's going to help the world. And then people are going to go home and write. And there's this big cycle. It's my Lion King moment. So I really think, it's super important. And what can happen is we get into what is decision debt. When you're working on the Eisenhower's box and you're not letting things go, it's like having debt. When you have debt with money and it's stressing you out, that being stuck in decision and not knowing which way to go, it's so exhausting. Let it go. These are the things. This doesn't seem like it has to do with writing, but when you sit down to write and you have all this other crap going on, you can't write. So these are the things. This is the work. This is the work that happens before anything else happens. And there's people that don't do this work and they're successful. But are they happy? But are they, it's not so much about, I'm joking about my own thing about being happy, but it's like, are they fulfilled? Now you can have moments of not being happy. I'm really fulfilled right now. I love what we're doing. I feel really fulfilled with this. This is so much fun. I love what we're doing. Do I have moments like this morning where I'm like, absolutely. But my general feeling of my day is excited, eager, ready, fulfilled, happy, like just, have moments of sitting and bawling. Yeah, but it's all part of it, right? So the more that we can kind of breathe, understand, and take that responsibility of how. It's not up to me to tell you. People are always like, how do I do this? How do I do that? How do I do this? I'll give you, well, you can do it this way. I'm always giving you a bajillion different options. And then it's up to you to pick the one. I don't know your world. You need to pick the one that fits into your lifestyle. Everybody's a little bit different. Some of this, you might be going like, this is ridiculous. I'm not doing any of this. Cool. Don't. If that's the energy that it brings to you, walk away, my friend. Walk away. So once you finish that screenplay, because you've been so productive, what are some of the next steps that you can take with it? This whole thing is about finishing your screenplay. That's what this is about. We have realized in doing this, because this was an experiment. We're going to talk about this more in a moment. But we realized in doing this that a lot of people they were like, I've got my screenplay. What do I do now? So being the people that we are, we're creating another thing that we'll do later that will help with that question. But let's just run down a few things that you can think of. By 9 to 10, I've heard this. Yes, Sheree, I've heard that. Go to bed by 9 or 10 p.m. when the energies for sleep are peaking. By 10 and later, the energies for activity increases and the second wind kicks in. Absolutely. It happened last night. I'm like, okay, I should go to bed right now because I could feel it. And then I'm like, oh, I could get up early. And then enough time went by that I'm like, ding. And that's me, like 1 o'clock. My sweet spot is 1 to 3 a.m. If I go to sleep though, I feel better. And Doug's happier. So Doug's a lot happier when I sleep. Go to sleep. Okay, so one of the things that you can do, contests and festivals. There was a podcast, I can't remember what it was, but they were saying how contests are, just a waste of money, a waste of time, whatever. And so they went around and they interviewed people, and it was so telling to me because it was like, the majority of people said a contest didn't do anything, and then for their career. But then a few people said, oh yeah, it totally changed my life, because it's not about the contest. It's about what you do with the results of the contest. So if you win a contest, I won a contest, and I went to the conference that, they were like, come to this conference. We're going to give you the award. It was in the top 10. So to me, that's winning. And so I went to the conference. I was the only one that showed up. And I thought everybody did that. This is really early on. And it was at that conference that they talked about being a reader. And at that conference, I'm like, being a what? I want that job. Here we are, right? So it depends on what you do with that contest. So many people, Quiet Place, they won a contest. So they won a contest, I think, on a different script. It brought them out to LA because they acted on it. Speed of implementation, right? They acted on that contest. The contest actually ended up, it promised all kinds of meetings. I think they got a few meetings, but then the whole organization that was putting on the contest fell apart and disbanded and everything. However, they kind of made it work for themselves, didn't they? So it's not about the contest work or don't work. It's about what you do with the results. And if you are entering contests, it's good to get the coverage back if you can. It's good to get, feedback on your screenplay, but it's really what you do with it. Same with festivals. There are pitch fests, both on and offline, and networking opportunities, both on and offline, where you can go to things, meet people, tell people about your screenplay. Really just the amount of things that you will learn, and we could do a whole training, and look on the YouTube channel, there's some pitch fest trainings. Getting that agent, lawyer, manager, sometimes it's a little bit easier to get a lawyer or manager first, and then they'll help you get an agent. Sometimes they work as a team. There's so many ways, there's so many resources out there. I think I put that next, yeah. I know my slides. Blacklist, Inktip, Stage 32, those are all really good, very viable ways to get your work out there. If you are a fellowship for a nickel, if you get even in the quarterfinalists, people will read your work. I actually have a friend who was nominated for an Oscar for her short film. And I said, so what was that like? And he said, it was amazing. And he said, I got meetings. I could just go everywhere. I got all these meetings. And then I showed up and I wasn't prepared. Because the big question, and we really do need to get t-shirts that people are going to ask you, is what else you got? So that when we were talking about in rewriting, we were talking about if your screenplay is kind of a mess and it's just not working, let it go and start a new one. Work on another one and then keep that one going. You will continue to learn, you will continue to grow, and you will continue. And then you'll have this body of work so that when you do get your Oscar nomination, you can go, well, I have all of these. Which one sounds good that we should work on? And then you can have a producer who has this like, oh, cool, I'm working with an Oscar nominee, and they're going to help you develop that last project, right? Big picture, my friends. So independent films, total route that you can go. You can produce it yourself. You can get an independent producer to take it on. And keep in mind, if you're producing it yourself, you're still going to have people reading it, because you're going to need to raise money and you're going to need to show them something. So your script will be read even if you are the producer on it, just FYI. So masterminds, that's what we have here in Finnish. This is it's a little bit different because it's more training than it is mastermind, but you guys are giving, I don't go into the comments because that's the mastermind aspect of Finished, of this pop-up group, is you helping each other. In a mastermind, everybody sort of helps each other as opposed to coaching. This is more coaching. So what we have here in Finished is coaching and a mastermind, which is the best of all worlds. So the coach that I have is a mastermind. So there's like 15 of us in there. We all have different online businesses. We're all doing different things, but we all, they're all similar in their, makeup of how we do it. And then we have a coach who's coaching us individually. And twice a month we get on Zoom and we all help each other. And then he guides us as well. Super, super cool. So 5 in your pocket, baby. So we have a free giveaway, which is a link to another training, because you can't get enough trainings. But there's this myth about it's really, really who you know. Like none of it really matters. It's all just who you know. That's all it is who you know. That's what I say to that. Was that a word? So the training covers, it's a handout and another video about a training that we did on who you know, how it doesn't matter, and how sometimes it can actually be a hindrance if you are related to someone or something. So 5 in your pocket means having, you have like all of those screenplays. So check out that. Yeah. Kathy Fanginetta, she's awesome. She wrote the Script Selling Game. She talks about how you have to have several screenplays. Rule of, it's either 7 or 9. Can't remember, but we're going to have her on soon. That's my goal. That's my goal. She's amazing. So taking action. So I want to talk a little bit about this concept. I am also in the virtual coaching program because I'm double downing on this idea of coaching because I really see it helping people. So we're going for it. So, and let me know if this is resonating. Like, give me some hearts and likes and stuff if this is like ringing true to you. It's been kind of quiet, and I'm hoping that it's quiet because everybody's like, "Ooh, listening." I know I do that, and maybe you're doing your dishes while you're listening. That's fine too. I call that domestic podcasting. So I just learned this concept from my hero, Evan Pagan, and I'm in his virtual coaching program, and he said, "Sure." So that's what I'm doing, and this is really fascinating. And this is the difference. A totally out of California thing. Did you? It's so fascinating. It's totally fascinating. Sorry. And that is the difference between an action, a transition, and a transformation. An action, we're doing an action right now. You're learning about screenplays. We're talking about it. Listening, yay. We're learning about it. You're talking about it. Like, this is an action that we're taking. Even writing could be an action. But a transition is when you actually write that screenplay. And anyone that has worked with us and has finished a screenplay can attest, right? When you guys, or any of you that have finished a screenplay, there's a transition that happens, right? Every time you finish one, a little transition happens. Because now, especially the first time, it's like you have transitioned into, I have a screenplay, I am a writer. It's like there's something psychological that happens. Love it, Jan. Thank you, yay. Kind of just lets me know you're out there. Love it. Listening and taking notes. Love it. How do I turn my published book into a movie script? Okay, remind me, Sunnies, and I will talk about that when we get to the Q&A. So an action would be, you make that transition when you wrote another screenplay. A transformation is when that screenplay turns into a movie and your life totally changes. So, we have Paul Haggis, who came in and did an interview with us, and he's the only person to win 2 back-to-back Oscars for writing. He had an action, working construction, and his dad said, "You stink at this, go to Hollywood and be a writer." Who you know? So he moves to Hollywood. That's his action that he took. That's also a transition and a transformation. He got married. So in his personal life, he had this massive transformation. And then he just started, doing more actions, writing. And then he got some work on television. That's a huge transition. Pretty soon he's an Oscar-winning, huge transformation, right? So it's like a butterfly coming out. And I really think that my kind of spaz out moment this morning is part of, I really feel like we are, Doug and I, and this whole movement of helping people, we are in the midst of a transformation. And so sometimes it can be really like a butterfly, like you're just beating on the cocoon trying to get out. And it can be very stressful. And you're like, trying to figure out what you're going to do, which I feel like a lot of people here are in that mode. And definitely in the screen readers group, we have people that are in this like very frustrated place of wanting to get to that next level, right? So what is your next level? We talked about what do you want, what you don't want. What is your next level? When you think about that next level, you want to take an action towards that. And that's all part of the productivity, right? So what is the action that you can take? The small little teaspoon approach of a tiny action you can take that's going to start you down that path. Pretty soon, as you do that action, you're going to build on that and you're going to have a transition to where you are writing every day. That's a transition. It's starting to become habit. You're starting to schedule it. You have your workspace. You're creating this. You have an accountability partner. Maybe you have a little mastermind. You're like putting these transitional things together. And then it blossoms into a butterfly. You have a completed screenplay. You're out there figuring it out, right? And then starts again. Now you've got your screenplay. Now what's the action you can take to get people to see that work or buy that work or whatever it might be? And then what's the transition that's going to happen as you start to meet people and start to become more confident of that? And pretty soon the transformation is that your movie's being done. So this works in anywhere. And I did some sort of smaller examples to make it a little bit easier, is that you can eat one healthy meal. That's an action that you can take. You could cut out sugar. You could become a vegan. You could do some big dietary change. That's going to be a transition. You're going to really whoo. You can really plan your meals, decide what you're going to eat the day before, take this very seriously, That is a transformation. You have stepped into a whole nother way of living. Same is true with working out. You know, you can work out once, you can have a regimen, you can get a partner and work out every day. Your body is going to transform if you treat it like that. You can join this group. This is an action. You can write your screenplay. Like we said, that's a transition. You can make movies and transform. So but the reason why we want to break it down like this is when you break it down into action, transition, transformation, then you can repeat it. Because now you know, okay, here's the steps to get to whatever I want to do. And then you know, okay, this worked before, I can do this again. So many people, they want to jump from, I'm over here, I haven't even done an action yet. I want that transformation. So many things I see on the Facebook group of, well, if only I could get the meeting with the producer, then I'll get my screenplay done. And it's like, okay, cart before the horse, for one thing. But you're wanting the transformation of being a filmmaker, and you haven't taken the first action of writing. So it's like, that's the work, right? So if you know that, okay, I take an action, it's going to lead to this, it's going to lead to that, you rinse, repeat. Then your life becomes far more manageable. And that works within the Brooke Castillo coaching model as well, is that the circumstance is neutral. You don't have to have anxiety about any of it. It's like, yeah, you want to get to here. That's a neutral thing. Whatever you feel about that is because of the thoughts you're thinking of it. I can't do it. I'll never do it. It won't happen. And then you feel anxious. And then the result is it doesn't happen. Or, okay, if I take this, if I'm determined and I take this action, I'm going to feel more determined. It's going to make me right. It's going to make this thing happen. And then the result is eventually where you're headed. I hope that makes sense. I really do. So that's awesome. If your work is based on novels, so good, so good. So it really, woo, good job, Brad. Lost 68 pounds since June. That is a transformation, my friend. That is an amazing transformation. Kudos to you. Kudos to you. That's huge. Really cool. So, and now Brad can attest, like he knows what he did to do that. So, and sometimes you adjust it. So what you did, you know, this time, or what you did 20 years ago might not be the same as what you're going to do today, or, you know, but at least you know, you have a path, you have a frame of reference, and then it gets far easier the next time. So once you write one screenplay, it's going to be far easier to write the next one, and far easier to write the next one. And then you can start really playing and exploring because you have this foundation that you can rely on, right? Especially if you add it to the productivity things we're talking about. If you add it to, you have this partner that's helping you out, and you have this mastermind that you're working on, you know that you're going to sit in this particular spot every Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 10 to 12. And you know that that's the moment that you're going to write. You know that that's worked out. Then you don't have to think about it anymore. And you don't have all that decision debt because you're not sitting there going, oh, should I write today? Or maybe I'll write tomorrow. Should I call my partner? What should, you know, plan it out, make it work. And that's what will lead to the transformation. I really love this because it really it builds, you know, it builds this whole system to make life so much more just doable. And it makes it so when you do have spaz out moments, I'm glad I had a spaz out moment. It's becoming very handy today. So when you do have these spaz out moments, you can go like I did. Okay, ixnay on the ASPE, and we're going to just move along. And so it does like become this thing of, I know what I need to do. I'm going to start doing it. And the power community fits right into my mastermind buddy going like, no, I'm overwhelmed too, but we need to meet. She was so right. And all I said is, you're right, I'm in, I'll see you at 3. It was like, yep, she totally nailed it. So Q&A, we had one like, how do I turn, I'm sorry, what was your question, Sunny? Remind me again, sorry. How do you turn your novel into a screenplay? Same exact way that we've been taught. Go back and look at, well, any of the trainings actually. It's just, you just have it's like your outline. So you have this outline of what to do, and then it's the same process of writing the screenplay. Where is she reading these comments? Don't see that. They're in the Facebook group probably. I'm sorry, I don't see your name, whoever said that. Who lost 61 pounds since March? You're a loser. You loser, biggest loser. Okay, you guys, I've lost 20 pounds and I think that I'm cool. You guys are awesome. So, and yeah, planning is everything. So what other questions do we have? Congrats, awesome. Yeah, you rock. I'm not sure who that is. Woohoo, congrats, love it. You guys are so good. Oh, should we publish our books first, then work on our scripts? That's a really good question, Jan. And I really think, again, that kind of goes back to what is it that you want. If you feel kind of depends on what you're trying, what your ultimate goal is for the screenplay. If you're wanting to produce it yourself, you're wanting to sell it, if you have a launch plan for that book, so you know that you can make the book into a good selling book. I mean, it's not that hard these days to self-publish on Amazon. Having a book on Amazon, unless you work on how to publish that book and do a book launch there's all kinds of things you can do to with social media now. So great to get that book out there. If you have a plan, it's so good. I mean, if you have both things, you have so many opportunities of being able to create a bigger plan with all of it. So if you take that book and you take the screenplay and you sort of plan out how one's going to feed the other, yeah, it can be fantastic. I wouldn't just put it out just to put it out, and definitely have a bigger plan, and you have that ability. Kudos to you. Super, super cool. So you guys are awesome. Let me see what else. Awesome. 4 pounds in a couple of weeks. That's perfect. How much time it takes to write a screenplay varies tremendously. Absolutely, it does. I mean, everybody's a little bit different, kind of like how people read. Some people read fast, some people don't. We talk about this in the reader thing a lot because it depends on your reading. How fast you read will determine some of the jobs that you have. And it's all fine. Type the legal copyright information. Yes. Super cool. Really, see, this is why this is a mastermind. So Sandy, if you can't see it, actually check the legal copywriting information on publishing. There is an order to publishing multiple formats that will net you the most return as an author, but that was a legit legal class. Awesome, Sandy. Thank you for that. Super cool. So if you can't see Sandy's notes, when you come back into the Facebook group, you'll be able to see it there. So it depends a lot on your habits. Absolutely. Your methods resonate. Yay, yay. Awesome, awesome. So yeah, thank you for that, Sandy. So, when we have published authors and people that kind of can help, this is why this is a mastermind. Everybody can kind of push in on that. I also highly, highly recommend getabookdeal101.com. Kathy Varek, she's been on our podcast. No, not on the podcast. She's been here in the group. So, she's got really good information about how the difference between self-publishing, publishing, how to get a traditional book deal. Yes, you still can get a traditional book deal, and what to do. So, that'd be awesome. So she has a Facebook group and page and all that too. And she's in our mastermind today, and she's live right now too, I think. So we're going to continue this on. We have some cool stuff that we've got planned. So this Facebook group, like we said, we created this, and there it is. Yay. So we created this because we wanted to give writers a shot in the arm and really kind of get you going so that you could finish your screenplay this year. And so we're going to close this group on December 12th, but it's not December 12th yet. So we've got lots of cool stuff happening this week. We're going to continue to do some stuff about development. We're going to talk a little bit more about the power of coaching. Went a little bit long, so I'm going to go through this. And then next week, we're going to do the live read. We're also going to do the watch party, and we'll have all of the handouts again for the watch party. And we actually have a page we've been keeping all the handouts in one place. We'll give you access to that so you guys can get everything, in one spot. Yeah, Kathy's awesome. So then you can start to consider the next steps. And so we put this whole thing together, and we were like, okay, we've been working with a very small group, very much similar to this, where we're doing coaching, but it's on Zoom, which is a platform that we're going to do the live read. You'll see what we're talking about. And I showed you the picture of all the people in the screen, kind of Brady Bunch style. And so we do these coaching where we talk to each other. We actually bring people on, we talk, and we do this, and then we have an actual course that we walk people through to finish their screenplay, but we haven't been putting it out there. We've been doing it, really, we have not very many people are in there. And we were testing it out, and people are finishing their screenplays and they're getting things done, and it's really cool. And so that's one of the things that sparked us into doing this Facebook group, is we were like, well, maybe we want to do this with more people. It would be really cool, but we like our little family. So we've just been kind of on the fence. We thought, well, let's try it, see how it goes, see how people respond to it. And oh my goodness, you guys, it's been so cool. Your responses have been so great. And we're seeing things happen already, which is super cool. So we have decided that we are going to put something together and actually continue this forward with a mastermind kind of coaching situation. So if you're interested in finding out information about that, we are going to start a waiting list so that you can know that if you know that you're in and you want to get more information about it, then just we'll give you a link because we really feel that we're stronger together. So we have this link, finished first. That's the link to get on the waiting list. So we can kind of see the interest in it. And then we're going to do some stuff over the weekend. Like I said, we're going to do the watch party on Sunday. So we'll review all of the things that we've done so far with all of the trainings. And we'll talk about, I don't think I'll include, I don't know, I'll talk to Doug about it, or you guys tell me. So we're going to do all 3 trainings that we did Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We also did a subtext training that was about half an hour, and we did it was a second rewriting. So we could put that all together in one watch party, and you can kind of come in and out. Maybe we will, and then people can kind of come in and out so you can see it all in one place. So then you have it all in one place. You can watch it. Woohoo, Jen's in. So if you just click on, or Doug will put the link in the comments there, or if you can't get to the link, it's hollywoodgatekeepers.net finished first. And then that will get you on a waiting list. And Monday at 8 a.m. And we're doing it early because Monday morning, I'm heading down to San Diego to do a retreat with my coach. So I will be in this retreat where I'm learning how to coach, where I can learn things to help you. So it's all so cool. So we're doing it early. And in the morning on Monday, I will explain what we've decided to do. So we're kind of putting it all together. This has been so much fun and so big. It's been much bigger than I pictured. Yes, awesome. So we will definitely do that. Nicole will put everything in one place, and we will air it on Sunday about 5 o'clock. So it's going to be, for you Canadians, it'll be like, So maybe we'll move that forward. Let me think about that. So we will figure out a way to put up the whole watch party on Sunday. And then meanwhile, over the weekend, we'll be putting together exactly what this will be. And on Monday morning, we will reveal like exactly what it's going to be. And then throughout the week, for the last 4 days next week, we will continue to talk and continue to coach and continue to kind of explain what you can do moving forward and how this is always going to, work out. So Doug will post the link in a sec, Jessica. Awesome. So you can get on that waiting list, be the first in line, because we are definitely going to do a mastermind where we are doing coaching similar to this, except we will do it on Zoom so that we can get to know you a little better. I can actually see you if you have your camera on, but even if you don't, I can kind of get to know. As you can see, there's people in here that I obviously know a little better, and that's because they're in some of our programs, but it makes it so that we can kind of get to know each other a little bit better. In the one that we're doing now that we want to just kind of expand, everyone's reading each other's pages. It's super, super cool. And so it's totally cool. I heard it. So thank you, Kristen. Awesome. So guys helping each other, just like a mastermind. So good. So we'll explain all the details on Monday morning. We'll have it all worked out together for you. Because we're still figuring out ourselves based on the things that you've said, the things that you want, the things that we want to do. So we are really excited. We think it's going to be really cool. And then throughout the week, next week, we'll continue to answer questions. We'll continue to look back on the free trainings. It's a little bit going to be a little more freeform than what we've been doing this week. This week was like, we wanted to give you a very solid week of like, here's the things that you need. Here's the here's this, here's that, here's the whole big thing. Boom, there you go. So now we'll put it all in the watch party, and we'll also have a link to a page that has all of the handouts in one place, so you have this massive training, and we'll make it downloadable so that you can figure it out. You have that, and then even after the Facebook group closes, you will have all of that so that you can get that screenplay done. We really feel like, I'm getting fired up. We really feel like, yay for Jen. We really feel like this is the key. These things that we put together in this little package, this has come together in such a great way. It's going to make me cry because you guys have given us what you wanted. You've inspired us to give you what you need. And so we have this really cool package now of trainings and handouts and things that you can just put together. And then after the Facebook group closes, take your steps and get it done. You can get it done. You have the tools that you need now to get it done. I feel very confident in that. I feel like now it's, responsibility of how comes back on you to go through this, go back through the things that you've seen. And there's other trainings inside the group besides the 5 that I'm going to put. The 5 trainings that I'll put were the Monday, Wednesday, Friday trainings that we did, the subtext and the rewriting. Those are the 5 trainings I'll put. There are other trainings inside of the Facebook group. And on Thursday, we will archive at midnight, so technically Friday next week, we will archive the group, but we aren't going to get rid of it. So you just can't post new things. You'll still be able to access it and go through things if you want to continue to watch it. So super excited. You guys have been so cool. This has been so much fun and just so satisfying, right? It's just been super gratifying. So I'm having the best time ever. We've just been loving it. And so let us know what other questions that you have. I will continue to be in the Facebook group. Doug will be in there. We'll be answering questions. I will pop on live tomorrow. I am traveling tomorrow. I'm actually going to go see my very first coach that I ever had. Like, she was one of my high school teachers, and we've become friends. I'm going to try and get her to come on. We'll see if she will. She's kind of shy, but we'll see. But if not, either way, I'll come on. We'll talk about the power of coaching a little bit. And then on Sunday, we will get that watch party going. And then we'll do some more stuff Monday. We'll be announcing all of the things that go into it. Tuesday, we'll do a live answer, just a Q&A, answering all of your questions about the stuff that we've been talking about. Wednesday, we have the live read that we'll be doing, where we'll be having people come in, actors coming on. And then actually Thursday, we're going to show you the Zoom session with the current people. We do know this much, with the current people that we've been working with, so you can kind of see what that's like. So we know that we're going to do that next week. We just still working out exactly what it's going to be that we'll be doing beyond that. So I hope that makes sense. I can't wait to share it with you. So exciting. All right, you guys. So have a good Friday. All right, go out, go see a movie. Let me know what, yay, people signing up. Yay, yeah. Awesome. Awesome, Dawn. Looking forward to it. So we will see you tomorrow on the live, see you Sunday at the watch party, and we'll see you Monday morning where all will be revealed. It's very exciting. All right, you guys, talk to you soon. Have a good day. I'm going to get ready for my mastermind that I almost